So what? It's not haram. Basic Bushra's hijabs have become colourful out of nowhere, and she started uploading pictures of herself to her WhatsApp DP. She's never done that before. Average Abdul is frustrated with his wife, but is scared to put his foot down in case he upsets her.
What pudu?
Enter Exceptional Ilyas. Exceptional Ilyas has 4 wives, and they all do exactly as he asks with a smile on their face. It's almost as though their pleasure comes from pleasing him. Average Abdul compares his wife and life with Exceptional Ilyas's and has one burning question. How? So many men today find themselves in a situation like Average Abdullah. They find themselves in a situation where their inner alpha is telling them to speak, to say something, to draw a line, to check their woman. But his fear of losing her, worst case scenario, or upsetting her, best case scenario, prevents him and stops him from doing and saying as he knows he should and must. Thus begins a downward spiral and cycle of events that ultimately result in the relationship coming to a conclusion. Listen, let me level with you, yeah? Once upon a time, I was Average Abdullah. Once upon a time, I went through something very similar to that story that you heard at the beginning of this video. And I remember very clearly, one of my wives, towards the end of our marriage, now there was maybe a few months at this point until the divorce was finalized or she had been granted her divorce as she initiated the divorce. And I remember very clearly, for the previous 10 years of our marriage, she wore niqab. Not just hijab and abaya, but niqab, the full face veil. And then all of a sudden, she'd randomly take it off. All of a sudden, her profile picture was appearing on her WhatsApp. As in, her face was appearing on her WhatsApp. Now, you have to understand. You might think, well, what's the problem with that? Is she covered appropriately? Fine. Is everything... she's not displaying her ornaments or, you know, being mutabarrija, displaying her breasts or wearing clothing that is tight or anything of this nature. What's the issue? The issue was a clear display of regression. And this is so crucial, I can't emphasize this enough. It doesn't matter if it's halal. What you must pay attention to is the regressive behavior, because it's indicative of something more serious. Now, worst case scenario, Muslim women actually end up taking their hijab completely. Not all of them, but you will notice women who once wore hijab and then suddenly you see them without hijab, it didn't happen just like that. It's a slow, regressive behavior that slowly, first it becomes colored, then the hijab comes back here, then it comes back here, then it turns into like some bun thing, and then just like Dina Tokyo, they take it off completely. It's regressive behavior. And if you as a man find yourself in a marriage whereby your wife is displaying regressive behavior, she's going in a backward step and then gaslighting you with, what's the problem? It's halal. There's no problem here. You're in trouble. Just as I was in trouble. And indeed, that marriage did come to an end. I was Average Abdullah, bro. That was me. I got to own that. I've got to eat that L. That was your boy Mahdi. But of course, I learned from my mistakes and I recognized where I went wrong. And I realized that there is one guilty truth that women don't want to own up to, don't want to admit, but they know deep down in the fiber of their being that it's the truth. And they want their men to just get it without her having to voice it. What is that truth that I'm referring to? It is crucial for the long-term health, happiness, and success of the marriage for your wife to be more into you, to like you, to love you more than you do her. And women will kick and scream hearing this. There is a select minority, a few of you, shout out to you women, I see you in the comments, who acknowledge and actually commend me for speaking on these things because they know it's the truth. It's like, it is what it is. She wants you to be less into her than she is into you. And if that dynamic is disturbed in any way, shape or form, you will find yourself in average Abdullah's situation, whereby now your wife is not only displaying regressive behavior, but she has less respect for your authority. She doesn't mind challenging you. She doesn't care as much as you. She thinks she can do better than you, and therefore by extension she is now preparing, getting the pastures ready to move on from you. And by the way, why do women start beautifying themselves prior to a divorce or a breakup? A woman doesn't want to necessarily go from being in a relationship to being single and alone, because this activates her neurotic behavior and she starts to become concerned, worried, fearful, and so on. Women typically have backup bodrules ready and waiting to go. And the only way for her to have a backup bodrule in her DM or wherever the case may be is to display her beauty in some way, shape or form, whether it's halal or not. It's just her face. She's still in hijab. What's the problem? You're missing the point. The point is she's advertising. She's preparing. She's getting ready to move on from you. So now you will ask me, Mahdi, so how do I ensure that my woman, my wife, my wives, for the select few of you watching me, is or are more into me than I am into her? How do I do this? Good question. And my answer to you will first be, you must look at yourself honestly in the mirror. And I'll have a conversation with yourself and ask, am I truly worthy of being respected, revered, loved in the way that I want to be from this woman? Are you worthy? And you know why I say this, yeah? Because there's a lot of you average Abdullahs out there right now who are genuinely punching above their weight with the woman that you are with. You are genuinely punching above your weight. You are genuinely slacking. Yeah? And I'm talking about essential things here. Not only are you not establishing the prayer on time and things of this nature, but you don't want to provide for your family and they want to be provided for. Or you are entertaining haram relationships of some shape or form. Whether it's actual zina or whether it's just messing around with girls. You are a pot smoker. You're addicted to weed. And as a result of that, your willy is dysfunctional. And you're causing all sorts of issues and aggro for your woman. So you must ask yourself, are you genuinely worthy of being respected and revered and loved in the way you want to be? However, you're watching the Mahdi Tijani channel, so therefore by extension, I have no doubt that you as a man are interested in genuinely improving yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this type of content in the first place. You wouldn't care about how to improve your relationship dynamics and things of this nature with your woman. You are not the average Abdullah archetype. You are either exceptional Ilyas or you're on your way to be there. Salute to you, my brother. And with that being the case, I will give you the answer to your question. How do I establish this dynamic with my woman of her being more into me than I am into her? And the answer is, pens out. You must find a way to both love and detach from her at the exact same time. There are 3 stages of love that a man goes through. The first stage is unconditional love. By and large, nobody truly loves unconditionally because most people have deal breakers of some sort. However, men love more unconditionally in general than women do. That is, women are more prone to pulling the trigger or pulling the plug on a relationship than men are. This is evidently displayed today. 70 to 80% of all divorces are initiated by women. And in fact, those who are college educated, that percentage goes up to 90%. However, men have a proclivity to hang on and love for longer than women do. This is unconditional of phase 1. Then a man goes to phase 2 if that relationship inevitably comes to an end, which is, I will never love a woman again. Burn them. I can't trust them. They can't be trusted. And he develops a low-level hatred towards women. Some of them even traverse down the black pill route. Very few, but I have no doubt that you are of the very few. You are of the select few because you're watching this video right now. Make it to phase 3, which is the best phase to be in as a man who is looking to get into a relationship with a woman or women and love them. And that third phase is, I've centered the content and collaborations in my private community around 3 things: psychology, power dynamics, specifically how to get the best out of women, but people in general, not just women. These tactics can be used for people in general, particularly in emotional settings. Oftentimes that's with a woman, but sometimes that's in business and other arenas of life. Money, getting your money up, whether it's through drop shipping online, whether it's through monetizing what's in your head online. And finally, community. So many men today live a life of loneliness. It's an irony, a paradox. The more connected we are, the more disconnected we seem to be. Hit the link in the description or in the top pinned comment, and I'll see you there. And that third phase is the ability, once again, to both love and detach at the exact same time. How? What do I mean? What I mean is, you look into the eyes of your woman. You look her deep into the window to her soul. And you're able to tell her, Habibti, baby, I love you. And you mean it. But you also know in the back of your mind that one day you might not. One day you might terminate the relationship. One day, if she behaves in a manner that is displeasing to you and she does not rectify it, you will let her go. And you will do so with compassion and mercy and respect, but you will let her go. And this, my friend, is absolutely terrifying for a woman. It's more terrifying than you never loving her. Because when you never love a woman or allow yourself to love a woman, then what's she missing? If you leave her or let her go, or she leaves you, what did she lose? She never had you in the first place. But when you love a woman and she knows in the back of her mind, man, this man might let me go. I'm going to have to stay on my P's and Q's. I'm going to have to perpetually impress him for a lifetime in order for him to keep me. This is the best stage to be at. And this is the guilty truth that women don't want you to know, or at least don't want to voice it. But they know that it is the only way for a relationship to function over the long haul. She must be more into you than you are into her. And the way you do that is by both loving and detaching at the exact same time. And know in the back of your mind that if she misbehaves, puts her foot out of line in a manner that is displeasing to you, and she refuses to rectify the behavior, that you may pull the plug on that marriage. Am I telling you to be trigger happy with divorce? Absolutely not. This is a coward's way of trying to reprimand a woman. I'm going to divorce you. You are talaq. No, bro. What you're trying to do is scare her into behaving again. But you don't actually want to divorce her. No. You need to really be about that life. And I'm not encouraging divorce. And I'm not telling you to do it. I'm simply saying when you conduct your affairs with her in this manner, she picks up on that energy. You don't even need to say it. She can sense it. And it creates a low level of anxiety inside of her, which pulls her more towards you and encourages and motivates her to want to please you more. The guilty truth. Your woman wants to be more into you than you are into her. And if this subject matter interests you and you want to learn more, I suggest you watch this video here. Your wife wants a divorce, but you don't. What do? Watch the video and we'll take a deeper dive.